you can brief what you have done in the last class of system analysis and design? Yes, please. Am I audible to you? Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello. Yes. So I'm sharing a PPT with you. But before that, I just want that we have done system development life cycle. I'll be using this class to reflect again that what all steps are there when we start designing or we start working on some project. Okay, so we have seen a cycle, and the cycle has four major steps. So I want each one of you to repeat the steps for me. Okay, so who would like to repeat? Anmol, do you want to repeat what we have done in the last class? Yes. Okay. Hello. Am I audible? Pushpendra, am I audible? Ranjan?
Yes, ma'am. आवाज आ रहा है.
Okay. So what is the first step, Priyanshu?
मैम लास्ट क्लास में हम नहीं थे मैम.
Okay. But that's not the answer. Yes. Pushpendra, what was the first step? Kunal was there, I remember. Kunal, what was the first step of system development life cycle? See, there is no point in moving ahead. If two classes been done, and if you forget everything whatsoever has been done in the last two classes, then what is the point in going further? Yes, please. What we have done in system development life cycle? What is the first step, Jyoti Kumari? Guys, are you listening me? Hello? Kunal Kumar, Jyoti Kumari, Aditya Singh Hada. What are the steps of system development life cycle? See, I'll not start the class till I get the brief review of the previous class. Yes, please. Quickly. Anybody can participate. Sujit, what are the steps of the system development life cycle?
मैम
What? Yes, Jyoti, बताइए.
यस मैम लाइक
Yes,
it's for says
you're not audible,
yes
Jyoti.
ma'am.
What is the first step of system development life cycle? See, this way I'm not happy.
And understand the evolution of
No.
ma'am.
Just wait. Just wait. I've understood. That means I have to repeat everything again. See, if
Okay.
you will not now see in each class, I'll be asking what you have done in the last class. This is not done. See, I'm teaching you something new, and you actually, are not able to understand the previous one. What is the point in going ahead? When you come to the class, do your homework properly, my dear students. Okay, just wait. I'm sharing, and then please repeat. Everyone will be repeating it. Everyone will be repeating it. Everyone will be telling me that, and everyone will be assuring me that yes, I have understood the system development life cycle. Is it visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Okay, so what is the system development life cycle?
And planning, analysis, design,
Jyoti.
and last one is implementation.
Implementation. So since last 5 minutes, I'm asking a very simple question, that what are the steps of system development life cycle? If we are developing a system, if you are writing a code, if you are designing a system, let's say you are designing a website, you are designing a a software application. So what is the first thing that you do? You will plan. And what will you plan? You will plan about, first of all, what is that I'm going to do. Another thing, the project which I'm planning is feasible or not. So the feasibility study is done, right? And then actually, see, I am repeating for you, just check out. Can you see this? Yes. So what is the first step? The first step is project initiation. Okay. What you do, you develop a system request, you do the feasibility study or analysis. Then what you do, you develop work plan, then you staff the project, then you control and direct the project. What is the question which should come in your mind? Why should we build this system? What is the benefit of writing, of designing this particular project? Why am I doing this? Okay, so this is the first step. Clear to everyone? So the first step is planning. Okay. Second one is what? Analysis. What we do, is it visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What is the second step? The second step is that analysis has been done. Now, what question are we answering in this stage? We are answering, what should the system do for us? Where and when will it be used? So these are the two questions which will be answered in analysis phase. आप अपने आप से पूछें कि ये सिस्टम हमारे जो हम बना रहे हैं, हमें इससे क्या फायदा होगा? हम इस एप्लीकेशन को बनाएंगे, इससे क्या फायदा होगा? आपने देखा एलेक्सा बना, एलेक्सा से क्या फायदा हो रहा है? होम ऑटोमेशन कंट्रोल हो रहा है, और ऑटोमेटेड आपका जो आप क्वेरीइंग था, दैट आल्सो इज बीइंग कंट्रोल्ड, वो हो रहा है। आपके जो छोटे बच्चे हैं जिन्हें कि कंप्यूटर ऑपरेट नहीं करना आता है, या आप नहीं चाहते हैं कि वो जो है आपके कंप्यूटर को ऑपरेट करे, तो वॉइस से ही आपका एलेक्सा सारा काम कर देता है, हाँ या नहीं? तो अगर सिस्टम को डेवलप करा तो पहले सोचा कि क्या होगा, इस सिस्टम को हम डेवलप क्यों करें? समझ आ रही है सबको बात? हम इसको क्यों बनाएं, इसका क्या फायदा होगा? देन व्हाट विल यू डू? यू विल गैदर द रिक्वायरमेंट्स। ठीक है, आप रिक्वायरमेंट गैदर करेंगे और फिर आप एक सिस्टम प्रपोजल बनाएंगे। सबको समझ आ रहा है? तो कौन सा स्टेप हुआ ये? एनालिसिस नंबर 2 स्टेप हुआ। ओके,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, coming to the design phase. Now in the design phase we develop a design strategy. Now what is the question that we are answering in the design phase, or we're looking for the answer? How we will build the system. Designing is all about that, how will you be building the system? Okay, so you will be designing a strategy. Then what will you do? You will be designing the architecture and interfaces. Then what will you do? You will be designing the databases and file specification. And finally, you will be developing the program design, that this is how it will be done. So in the design phase, you actually go for developing the design strategy. You design architecture, you design interfaces, you design databases, you write down the file specification, you develop the program design. Once this has been done in the design phase, okay, then you move towards the implementation phase. And in implementation phase, what you do, you construct a system, you install the system, you implement the training plan for the user, and finally you actually establish a support plan. Support plan means once you have implemented, you have built the system, Now, what all maintenance will be required by the system, or maybe it will be needed further if some error comes, if bugs come. So, what are the support plans that you have, or maybe it is all about training the people. It's not only always about finding the bug and maintenance, but it's all about training people about the system that you have built up. So, once you have done that, then the implementation phase comes. Okay. Now, coming to the, if we put the SDLC together, look at this. Look at this. If we put the SDLC together, what happens? Each phase, these are phases, okay, that we have discussed just now. Each phase consists of steps that leads to specific deliverables. And the system evolves through the gradual refinement. You actually keep refining your system, and then finally the system evolves. Now, once the system is implemented, it may go back into the planning phase for next revision, for follow-up system, or for the maintenance releases. Clear? This we have already done. I am just repeating because it's not good if I keep moving further and actually you do not pay attention what was said in the earlier classes. So please remember what we have discussed. Okay. Can anybody tell me what all models we have discussed in the last class? What methodologies we have discussed in the last class? Can you please tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please. What all methodologies we have developed? Yes, please. Anyone? Yes, Pawan. What methodologies we have seen in the last class?
Ma'am, waterfall development, parallel development, or V model development, agile model development.
Very good, very good, very good. So we have seen the system development methodologies, and in the system development methodologies, we have seen certain methodologies like waterfall development, parallel development. Then we have seen V model. Then we have seen, just a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we have seen waterfall development, we have seen parallel development, we have seen rapid application development, we have seen agile development. Okay. Now the categories, that how we have categorized all these methodologies we have discussed earlier, and again I'm discussing because this is the very important part of the whole system analysis and design course that we are learning, because this is the first question which will be asked, and you have to give that what kind of a methodology you have used in your project. So it should be very clear to in your mind that this is what I'm going to do while I'm designing the project. So the first one is the structured design. Now in the structured design, waterfall and parallel comes. Okay. So you can write down the structured design. You can note down the structured design. So in the structured design, waterfall and parallel development comes. When we talk about rapid application development, then phased prototyping and throwaway prototyping comes. See, you have to remember all these things. And in agile, the extreme programming comes. So these are the categories of the methodologies. Yes? Okay. Now let us see one more time the structured design, which is actually the waterfall model or waterfall development, you may call it. You can see the planning, analysis, design, and implementation, and then finally the system comes out, developed. You can see that it is like, it is moving from planning to analysis to design. That means a one-way flow. You can see that, once the first phase is over, the second begins. When the second over, then the third begins. When the third is over, then the fourth begins. It's like this. So this is what the waterfall development or the waterfall model is all about, right? Okay, coming to the structure design too. Now, when you see this particular picture, then you'll see that planning, analysis, and design are there, but further bifurcation or the division of the division of the project into sub teams being done. You can see, and three parallel bifurcations you can see, which are actually maybe you can say that division of work has been done, where sub project 1 is developed by one team, sub project 2 is developed by the another team, and sub project 3 is managed by the third team. They all are at the same phase, means at the design phase, but they all are designing. They all are designing their own components or the areas which has been given. So in one particular project, again the division of the work has been done. They design their component, they design their project or the sub project, you may call it, and then finally everything is put together, everything is combined, and then implemented. Like in the case of website designing, you can see that you can there are 10 students. You can say, okay, there are 10 tabs. Now in one tab, maybe one tab is home, one tab is contact us, another tab is something. So each one of you will say that I will be designing home, I will be designing contact, I will be designing the maybe the cart, the payment gateway, I will handle the designing. So what will you do? You will be designing your work, and then I can say that my class, 5th sem class has designed this particular website where these 3 or 5 or 6 components been designed in different teams. Finally, what we are developing? We are developing the web page. We are developing one single web page, but 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams are working on that particular project, and finally the output that we see is really rewarding. You understand what I'm saying? Now this is what is happening when actually you'll go for the jobs as a software developer. Only one part of the code will be given to you. You don't have to worry about that what analysis has been done, what was the planning phase. You don't have to worry about. One problem is given to you, one module is given to you, that you will be designing this, and you'll be focusing on that particular task only. Once the task is over, later on it is the duty of the team leader, it is the duty of your senior manager, whosoever, the developer. He will be combining, putting it together and implementing, and then it will be presented in front of the your clients that okay, this was your requirement and this is what we have developed, right? But for that you have to have a very good knowledge of software engineering, software analysis and design, because ultimately you are the one who will be standing there and explaining your team that see, this is what we have done. So if you want that kind of an understanding, if you want that kind of intelligence, you have to study system analysis and design, and that is the reason we are teaching you. Is this thing clear to everyone? Is this thing clear to everyone? Why are we teaching you system analysis and design, my dear students?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes.
the idea is each one of you should be well equipped with the knowledge of how a project is being developed. It doesn't matter that right now you are at the at the team level and you're just doing one task, but ultimately you're a part of a big team, right? You are a part of a big team and your work matters a lot. If you will not work properly, then what will happen? If you will not design properly one component, then when everything will be put together, one particular component will not work properly, and what will happen? All other components, all others work will go in vain, because the client will say that if this is not working, maybe others might not be working. So it's your contribution matters a lot. Okay, that is why at university level, what we do, we give you a project and we say that you choose your partner and you make a team. Okay, so in today's class, again I'm telling you that you design a team where you decide that with whom you want to work, and please do not, keep your friend, your very, what you call, your fast friend in the team. Okay, whom you think that he is my fast friend or she's my fast friend. Don't keep the people in your team. Why am I saying that? Because there has to be proper justification of the work, that half of the work is being done by number one person and half of the work has been done by the other. So this has to be done. So you will be giving me a list. Priyanshu, are you back? Priyanshu, are
Yes,
you
ma'am.
back? Okay. So Priyanshu, you will be giving me a list of projects, where you will be giving me the list of participants also, 2 people, team members. So give me the teams, how many teams are coming from your class, and just give the projects also. Now, as I've told you that, very soon you'll be joining the IBM course. Okay. So all your information has been sent. Pawan, I asked for the mobile number. I hope you send me the mobile number. If not, please send me on my WhatsApp.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah,
Yes, ma'am. I'll send it.
just now you send it because I have to send further. So you just share your mobile number immediately, and so your training will begin. Probably from Monday, it will begin from Monday or Tuesday, it will begin, right? So you should have that understanding. If you're joining some big company's internship, the basic things should be clear to you. So Priyanshu will be giving me the teams, and plus you'll be giving me even tentative projects which they have in their mind, that these are the area of interest. I ask you area of interest. I were not asking you that what will you be doing. I'm asking your area of interest, like graphic designing, multimedia, so and so, whatever. So just give me that, these are the projects which we'll be developing. Okay, coming to the next one. I have discussed earlier in the class that in the rapid application development, this is what happens. As you can see, the at analysis phase, after analysis phase, the breakup happens. Means the analysis been done by 3 different teams. You can understand likewise, like this. So 3 teams are there, 3 sub-projects are there. Then finally what happens? Analysis, design and implementation happens, and system is developed, and again it can come back to analysis phase. This is what rapid application development does. It comes back again to the analysis phase, and if some changes has to be done, again they've been done, and then again it moves to the next one. Analysis, design and implementation, system 2 developed. Then from system 2 again it goes back to the analysis phase. Again this analysis, design and implementation does, and then system 3. So you can see that it's like version 1, version 2, version 3. So again it goes back to analysis phase, and then again the whole thing begins. This is very important. Now let's talk about agile. Very popular. Now in agile, we call it extreme programming also. Okay. Now just see what is happening here. Planning, you're planning the system. Now analysis, design and implementation taking place. It is, again, as you can see, the system has been implemented. Again, it comes back to the analysis. This is what extreme programming is doing. Now there is no sub-module or sub-projects kind of a thing there. But in agile, this is what is being done. Clear? Clear to everybody? Clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
I have shown you also that it is up to you that which type of methodology you will be choosing. And for that, I had given you this table also, that you have to select the right methodology. So this is one table which actually helps you in designing the in choosing right methodology. Okay. Perfect. Now I'll not go into the object oriented and design, because I just wanted to repeat the SDLC. Now I'm coming back to today's topic, which I actually prepared and planned for you. Now this is it. Can you see this? Okay, so today I want to talk to you about the traditional system softwares. Now, when traditionally in early times the softwares were written, they were developed by one single organization, and they used to undergo a phased development process. Now, phased development means multiple phases of reviews, inspection, testing, etc. And they used to have a synchronized release schedule also. They used to have a proprietary design. They used to have the proprietary component interfaces, and they were having a monolithic code base. Now here monolithic means what? Monolithic, mono means single, lithic means layer. It means that the whole code was written in one file, right? Now, like I have given you this example already, that if you talk about disk operating system, okay, that was a monolithic, there its code was monolithic code, right? So actually that was monolithic operating system, monolithic software you can call, where everything was written in one file. So if you want to change anything, you really have to change, you really have to update that file as such, and you have to make the changes there in the original code, the original code base that you have to make the changes there. And definitely when you go back, so you will be making changes, and that whole process was quite painful. Like, just take the example where you have to just add a device driver. So you have to go to the original file, you will have to make the changes therein. And because that time there was not many devices available, so, and not many device drivers also, so each driver has to be added to that particular file. That was the thing. So now if we see here, in the traditional systems, then the abstract unit of software is a network service. The abstract unit of a software is the network service, which means prior level of abstractions were subroutines, libraries, processes, objects. If I talk about the object-oriented analysis and design. Now, in this view, the only way to understand the software is to watch its magic, its message traffic. Okay. Another thing which again is associated was the latency. Latency means what? Delay. Latency is an absolute limit of system architecture. Just a real architect grapple with gravity, so with the speed of light. So London will also be 30 milliseconds from New York, and regardless of Moore's law, right? Now what it says that, you have to see that, how much latency affects the system architecture and how much delay because of that whole design can happen, right? Now decentralization means you have to break down the components, you have to break down the boundaries. Now another thing which you should understand is that what happens after traditional system, how our vision is emerging today. This was in the past that only one monolithic code was there, and the traditional systems used to develop the software in a different manner. Now the technological shift happened from component model to a service model of software. Now service model of software, SOAP, and web services technology, it make it easy to write new protocols, and the internet is inexorably shifting to higher latency, decentralized connectivity, ad hoc peer-to-peer networking, mainly wireless, is being deployed at every scale, from 1 meter, means handheld devices, to billions of meters, means you can say the space is probed. So billions of meters, like, the internet is connecting you all. Another thing happened, enterprise application integration happened. It is the only now reaching outside the firewall to the business partners. Need not to say that everything now is connecting to each other, and now we are actually have come to a phase where now the things, it was not only the human connection, it is about now the device connection also, that the devices are doing the talking. They are talking to each other rather than humans talk to each other. They are talking, they are giving permission and all. Okay, so this is what the change has come. So what are we talking about? Why we are discussing all this, and why we do this, right? Now, there is a missing link between near future predicted by today's web service hype and realizing the true potential of our vision. It is the new architectural style for software integration, and we call it application layer internetworking, or ALIN. Okay, ALIN. It applies networking concepts to software engineering. Earlier, software engineering typically was restricted, I should say, to towards designing one particular software. But as we have these applications actually have moved and the technology has grown, everyone is having mobile. And now what is happening? The whole architectural thing has changed. The whole scenario has changed. Now what we want that my application which I'm developing, it should reach to each and every person. It should be downloadable from the Play Store, and whosoever wants should be able to use my application. This is what we do. So the new architectural style which has come up is what? It is for the software integration, and we call it application layer internetworking. Please remember this, all of you. The primary way that developers use LN is an unheralded application of SOAP routing. So let us see this picture. Can you see this picture? Can you see this picture?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, what is the conclusion that you can draw, or what is the understanding that you get from this particular picture? Can you please tell me? Anyone, what you can understand by this picture? Can you see numerous point-to-point interfaces? Can you see numerous point-to-point interfaces? Hello? Can you see the inventory? Can you see the e-commerce? Can you see the logistic? All are connected. Can you see so many points are interconnected with each other? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
You please tell me one business which is nowadays is not connected with the internet. Just name one business which is nowadays not connected or not available on internet. Means what I want to tell you is that its presence is not there. If you want to do any kind of a business, you have the e-commerce site, you are a logistic company, you are running, you're a bank, okay? You're a financial company, you're a tax payer, or you are a, tax receiving company. You have to, you are government. Government is also online. We are doing everything online. Government is sending all the notices online. They are informing the people online. You understand? Everything whatsoever is a, so the system is becoming transparent now. It is more transparent now. Earlier, people were not having that kind of a knowledge also about the system, because it was never shared with them. Right now, you see all the development units, they are online. So can you see the interconnection between internal, external, and can you see the web application and enterprise, integration points? They've been increased. And you see the towers or the boxes, they are the servers which are connected, which are connecting these all services together. So what are we doing? We are moving towards services, right? Can you see that? So we are moving towards services. So the whole architecture has changed. The whole architecture is now service oriented architecture. Okay. Now with EAI, you have seen that. Now without EAI, there are numerous point-to-point interfaces, manual hands-off, web application increase the number of enterprise integration point, and inconsistent business processes and inconsistent quality of service. But now with EAI, you just see. Now see this. You have the EAI infrastructure. In this, you have a portal. External, internal bodies, they are connected to this portal. There is a adapter which is connecting, red ball which you can see there. Adapter which is connecting to different business process automations, data transformations, message routing and message storage. And they're all properly connected. Right? Earlier, one point, other point was connected directly or indirectly, but there is a portal, and through that portal now everything is available on the portal. Even the governments are all there, and then you are connecting. So you can see the web designing is an essential area which you people should learn. Now, when we, with AI, if we see the reduced number of common inconsistent known interfaces are there, consistently automated business processes are there, increase in quality of service, right? The orders can still be captured even when the financial and operational system are unavailable. The framework of integration of web services are there. So again, the new kind of architecture has come up, and it is very different from the previous one, which we used to study, we used to teach, and we used to use in our project design and delivery. So it is all changed. Coming to the next point, when I talk about adapters, the red ball which you were seeing, adapters also known as the connectors, or you can say the translators, or you can call them wrappers. Okay, they provide connectivity to the underlying application of or data, and they convert information and events into data that can be utilized by the infrastructure. Now, the two-way translation between the proprietary and lingo and the common lingo happens. Many adapters are available off the shelf from, I've given the name of TIBCO, package software vendors such as SAP. So there are many vendors which are available who are designing specific applications and specific portals, and so that they can provide service to the people or the company. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. I want to come to this level. When we talk about EAI architecture, just look at this. Whenever we do the EAI designing or infrastructure, then we actually are modeling the process. These processes, they are often GUI based, and they describe the flow of information in context of business processes. Now, using the input output of the process as the integration point between diverse business processes. Okay. Another term that we use is process brokering. Process brokering means execution of discrete steps within the business process and ability to recover from failed steps and workflow engine. Okay. Another one is the process management, which monitors business processes and correlate matrices to specific business process steps. Now here you must understand, nowadays what companies want. Companies wants that already one a software or is given, or maybe one particular application is given which actually will be helping you in designing another application. But how the application itself is been developed, that nobody wishes to teach you, and nobody is interested to give you that idea. Why? The first thing is that they've already designed it so that you don't have to worry about that you have to design it. Another thing is that they need quick delivery of the products. So whenever quick delivery of the product comes, they don't want that you should understand what is happening. Companies wants that you should have a common basic knowledge of object, class, function, use case. You must understand that how these things happen and how you can use them in different scenarios, and how you quickly create what they want, the application or the solution which they want. So they are least bothered about whether you fully understand that how this particular whole thing happens and all, how you design it. They are not interested in that. Why? Because already the portal's been designed. Now the developer is to develop new applications. You have to provide service, right? So from this, you actually are your the whole architecture is such that quickly anything can be done, anything can be designed. You understand what I'm saying? I'll be giving you one demo by which you can understand more that how the new software developer works, and it's very handy and it's really very easy also. You know, you're not writing codes anymore, rather you're just pasting the code and adding here and there a little bit, and then making it or you can say the furnish it, or you can say refreshing it, and just giving it a new look, and just forwarding it. That's been done. So you see how whole system analysis and design has changed over the years. We used to focus on one step, that was planning. We used to focus on analysis. Now you are not doing anything, right? You're not doing anything. Team leader or the project head, it just tells you that, guys, you have to design this, and this is how it will be designed. Quickly do it and give me in the 24 hours and 48 hours or 15 days time or 10 weeks time, whatever. But the deadline has been set, and you actually work on that and you deliver. So as you can see, the whole software industry has changed. And if you want to be a very good, smart software developer, you have to learn all these terminologies very quickly. Because if you do that, you definitely will be adapting things at a very fast pace. Because over in every 10 years, the whole technological scenario, the whole technology, the interfaces, everything changes. I have seen everything changing over the years. So it changes. So you have to understand this thing. Clear? Okay. Just look at the picture. Just look at this picture. What is the situation? See, there is a distribution warehouse which is connected to the transportation. The raw material again been transported. The transporter transports the material to the manufacturer. Again, the transportation is been done for the paperwork and other things, right? What is that you understand by this? The whole thing which you see here right now, since the logistic is involved, the transportation has been done, the raw material is there, the transportation is there, the distribution warehouse is there, right? So earlier, if in the manual system just talk about, then if you have to buy something, you'll be buying, and then that raw material will be transported, will begin from, you just take the example of other than software. Just take the example, you are buying something, you're buying coconuts from Kerala. Think about that. There'll be a warehouse. From there, you're actually asking. So the transportation is bringing it for you. 100 miles, 10,000 miles, 100,000 miles. The truck will come to your place. All the paperwork will be done. Time will go. Human intervention. Lot of human intervention is there, right? Then inefficiencies also will be associated since a lot of time is going there. Now think the same situation, keeping it in the software scenario or software design scenario. So you'll find actually that, whenever the manual things were happening, they were quite cumbersome. They were quite time taking. They were poor. They were rather inefficient. They were like a paper work intensive. A lot of manual work used to go, right? So, but now as we are shifted, and let us see when we are shifted like this. Just look at this. Look at this. We have shifted and we actually can see the distribution channels, let's say, and there are many suppliers. Now, in the future, if I predict that there will be so many suppliers, there will be so many buyers and all. Now, this is the future. How will you handle this? There will be scarcity if we are not using technology into it. Somewhere there will be scarcity of the product, somewhere will be, you know, it will be available to few people a lot. So now, if you want that, the future should be secure, if you want everyone should get what they want, then we have to actually move towards software. Okay. And softwares, what they do, they actually make things available at your doorstep. That is what we see right now. आप लोग स्विगी से खाना मंगाते हैं ना, आ जाता है जोमेटो, यू ऑर्डर जोमेटो, आ जाता है तुरंत.
यस मैम.
कर रहे हैं ना आप लोग कहीं से भी. अब आपको नहीं पता, आप ही के एरिया में इतने सारे होटल्स हैं और वो सारे होटल्स जो हैं आपको प्रोवाइड कर देते हैं. आपको तो नहीं पता, फटाफट से आपके पास में विद इन 5 मिनट्स आ जाता है. So there are many points. So this is the future. The future में the requirement will be too much. अगर मैनुअल सिस्टम को फॉलो करेंगे तो इट विल नॉट बी इजी टू केटर टू ऑल द पीपल. दैट इज व्हाई वी आर डिजाइनिंग software. And how we are designing, we are taking help of the internet, web services. That is what is more important. I hope this thing is clear, that in software system designing we actually have changed our approach. Now just look at this picture, look at this graph, look at this graph. Each e-business relationship is unique. Each e-business initiative, it integrates disparate system. Every change requires a skilled programmer. So relationships are dynamic, right? So what actually you see? Can you see in terms of time and cost? So the time and cost is what? Increasing. So this is what a unique kind of an e-business relationship that we see. Okay. So can you see this? This is a value for money kind of a thing. So it is a collection of functions. If we talk about web service, I was using the term web services. So it was the collection of functions that are packaged as a single entity and published to the network for use by other programs. And they are basically like creating open distributed system and allows companies and individuals to quickly and cheaply make their digital assets available worldwide. Pushpendra has designed a website where he was saying that, I'll be managing the content and I'll be making the content available to the people. So what kind of a thing is it? It is just like, he's providing services to people. And this is what we want, right? Web services can aggregate other web services to provide a higher level of set of features. That also you must understand. Okay, moving to the next. So if we look web services again, they're based on universal description, discovery, and integration, and XML. Now here what XML document or XML is important, that I'll be discussing later. You must note down that web services are platform independent, open framework for describing services, discovering businesses, and integrating business services. See, in my teaching life, I have never discussed web services when I was like teaching system analysis and design at the first place. Why? Because at that time, we were not designing web services. We were focusing on the single standalone applications more. But now the scenario has, as I told you, is totally changed, and we are focusing more on the web services, right? So that is why I thought that I should introduce all of you to this. Okay. Coming to the next slide. Now let us discuss that what are the strengths of web services. So if I talk about the strengths, the first one which I'll be talking about is the interoperability. Interoperability means they're based on open standards and they use existing infrastructure. So this is the first quality. Another quality is ubiquity. Now, ubiquity means wireless. Ubiquit means wireless, or ubiquitous system means wireless system. Means you can connect your system from anywhere. You move on the go, kind of a thing, like mobile, wireless on internet. It's available. So it's communicate through XML and using HTTP. Any system that supports these standards or supports web services, they are called the ubiquitous systems, right? So the low barriers to entry, the concept easy to understand and easy to implement. The toolkits which allows us COM, J2EE, Corba, and components to be exposed as web services. And then further the industry support that it provides. Okay, please note down these qualities. Okay, now look at this picture. This picture is depicting web services layers, and if we look at this, the first layer, see, I know you know about TCP/IP layers and other layers, OSI standard layers also, 7 layers also. Now this is what web services layers are all about. So this is UDDI, SOAP, XML, and HTTP. I'm leaving you here till web services layer, and I'll be again conducting a class from web services layer. So I'm leaving it here so that you can do some kind of a homework and you can study. And I'm stopping my share here. And again, I'll be continuing in the next class about that how we use web services, what ubiquity has to do with the designing of the softwares and all, and the new kind of an application. Okay, my humble request to all of you is that your classes have begun. Please pay attention to your class. Please remember what is being taught, explore. Okay, and whenever you come to the next class, remember what is being